Hi, in this demo, we'll have a look at how OPA can be used to extend Oracle ERP Cloud. Specifically, we'll focus on a use case within projects, and we'll see how OPA can provide an assisted project close experience for project managers. One of the challenges that project managers have today in ERP Cloud is that they're not sure when they can close off their projects. And they're not sure because a project in Fusion Apps can have so many dependencies from purchase orders, requisitions, time card entries, etc. And there isn't a single view that would let a project manager know what these dependencies are. And there is no mechanism to actually ensure that these dependencies are closed off so that the project itself can be closed off. Now, this effectively causes this exponential growth in projects that are never closed off because a PM's not actually sure when they can close them off. And so this is the use case that this process addresses. When a PM initiates project closure from FA, our process will kick in and will check for dependent transactions. If it finds dependent transactions, it will kick off sub-processes for the specific transactions that will be assigned to that part of the business, and they'll be asked to deal with those transactions. The PM will be informed throughout the whole process as far as the current state of the project. And then when all of the dependent transactions are actually closed and the project itself can be closed, we can either automatically close the project or the PM can do so manually, depending on their preference. And so a lot of this process is actually driven by this preference decision table, which effectively tells OPA how to deal with each project. So depending on the project org, what transactions can it close automatically and what transactions need to be closed off by the relevant stakeholder. Now, this is a very simple table, but you can see in another implementation of the same scenario, the complexity here can grow exponentially depending on the business rules that each organization has. So decisions and decision service provides a great way for us to actually capture all of the business logic as to when certain transactions can be closed and when we need to flag them to the relevant stakeholder for action. So let's see this demo in action. And what we'll do is we'll navigate to ERP Cloud. Within the projects module, you can see that I have a number of projects in here. So let's say as the project manager for this project 3, I want to initiate closure. And so the way I would initiate closure is to set the project status to pending close. So pending close is a status that indicates that I want to close this project, but it won't affect any of the existing dependent transactions because the project itself is not yet closed. So now that I've set this status, what's happening is I have an OIC integration that listens to this event. So the project close event will actually fire an OIC integration, and you can see that we'll listen to that event and then invoke OPA. So every time we receive a project close event, and this one is actually specific to the status that we want, we're going to actually just invoke OPA in here. So very simple. And you can see it as part of the filter criteria, we're only looking for the status of pending close. Okay, so then once OPA is invoked, let's see if we've actually received the transaction. Just go to the workspace. So as a PM, the first thing I'll do is I'll get a FYI human task. And this FYI will tell me, okay, so you've initiated closure for project 3. You can click on this. And this will tell me all of the dependent transactions for the project that was just set to pending close. Okay, so I'm just going to expand the form so you can see it a little bit better. So here's the details of my project. Okay, so you can see this is project 3. I'm the project manager, Brock Phillips. This is my business unit. Status is pending close. You can see that there's dependent transactions that are preventing project closure, and you can see what the transactions are. So the PM can actually have this visibility of, oh, there's actually a requisition and a PO that needs to be closed off before this project can be closed off. And this is like a single view where a PM can always come and check what are the dependencies, What is this project waiting for before it can be closed? So in this case, I'm just going to acknowledge this FYI task. What you'll next see is that there's 2 tasks now assigned for the relevant business stakeholders. So to prevent me from switching between different users, I've assigned them all to myself, but normally the requisition job would be assigned to the appropriate team, and so would a purchase order. So these 2 tasks would go to 2 different end users. And so these end users will basically be notified that, hey, this PM wants to kick off or wants to close this project, but you have a requisition that's actually blocking them from doing so, right? And so now as the requisition officer, I can come in here, I can see, okay, this is the project that this PM wants to close. And I can see that I have this requisition. So now I'm getting a subset view within my domain area, right? And if I have multiple requisitions, I can close them all. In this case, I only have one, and I can just close off this requisition. So this would effectively now go back and talk to Fusion Apps, and it would actually call the API to update this requisition to a status of closed, depending on what I want to do. So now that the requisition line's been closed, I can actually just release this transaction. And a very similar case for my purchase order, right? So if I'm the purchase order officer, again, here I would get a notification saying, hey, you have a purchase order that's blocking this project from closure. Can this purchase order be closed? And maybe I have some dependent work that needs to finish, but once it's finished, I can just close it. And this 2 actions, these 2 dependencies that are assigned to the various teams have now been dealt with, right? And I can now, as a PM, see what's actually happened with this transaction. So if I go back to the tracking view and have a look at the project, then I can see, okay, here's project 3. It's actually been completed. So you can see the sub-process for purchase order requisition was kicked off, but we also performed auto close on the project itself. So once the dependencies were dealt with, we also finalized project closure, right? So this end-to-end transaction was performed. Now, from the audit point of view, you can see all of the steps that happen along the way. So every time we assigned to a different team, every time we made an API call to do anything, that's actually all captured as part of our audit. Okay, so that's all here. Now, if we navigate back into FA and I just refresh this, we should see the project 3 has actually been closed off by OPA. So that's it. It's a very quick demo, but it showcases the power of OPA in extending the out-of-the-box capabilities of Fusion Apps. In this particular case, what we saw is how OPA can be used to provide an assisted project close experience for project managers that lets them stay in control of closing projects by showcasing them the dependencies that are preventing them and assigning these tasks to the various stakeholders in our business that will need to deal with those transactions. I hope you've enjoyed this demo. Thank you so much for watching.